Hi, and welcome everyone. Friar Tuck here. This is my epoch. So somebody said something in the comments that was like, you know what? I probably should do a video using that as like title and tagline. And what he was saying is, a lot of these people, they won't know what to do. First day homeless. What do you do the first day you're homeless? How do you begin to start your life over when when you're being dispossessed? And I think I've done something very similar on this topic. But I wanted to touch on it again, one, because I have newer subscribers, and two, things have changed. What homelessness used to be somewhat consistent. Now it's so erratic, depending upon what part of the country you're in, is whether or not the political arena is mounting hostilities towards you for whatever reason. And it used to be that if you were homeless, it usually had to do with drugs, alcohol, mental health, or a combination of all of that, or sometimes physical. And it'd be, there were people that were homeless that, just lost a job, needed a shelter, went out and looked for work. But those people really, because they had a social safety net, either within their friends or their family, to where they could fall back on something instead of having to go out into the world being homeless. That has changed to the point where for what I think since 2008, most people, especially in my age group and younger, are they are living with their parents for various reasons, whether it be economics because their job doesn't pay them enough, whether it be for other reasons. Okay, so a lot of those social safety nets that we used to have that would kind of allow us to deal with an economic downturn. A lot of those things have been taken away. And so you're going to start seeing a lot of people who would have probably not been homeless because of their social safety nets become homeless because they've had to use their social safety nets to an extent to where they've exhausted everything. And they have nothing left. And, it's getting to be that time where a lot of those people are starting to come outside. Like I said in my last video, the streets are becoming crowded and nobody's really talking about it. It's even here at Grace, it seems like, they're just crowding us into smaller and smaller spots, hoping to push us out. And all it's doing is dispersing us instead of having a central location of where all the homeless are, which would be a wise thing if you want to keep an eye on the homeless and keep crime down. Now we've been dispersed throughout the city, so now you have fires all over the city instead of just one fire right here that you could control, manage, and keep an eye on. And so a lot of this is happening because the political climate is getting hostile towards homeless because as the economy goes down, as everything goes and just kind of has its downturn, well, you're going to see an expansion of the homeless population. And because people don't want to see it, because they don't want to be reminded of, one, where they could be, or two, that not everybody is as fortunate as they are to have made either the decisions or have certain things happen within their life. There's a lot of factors that will bring a person to being homeless versus not being homeless. And part of that is, did you grow up in a functional family? If you didn't grow up in a functional family, chances are you're going to be a dysfunctional human being just like your parents, and therefore you're going to have issues, and it may end up getting you out here. But if you grew up in a functional family, you're gonna have a lot more tools at hand because your family taught you how to be cohesive versus abrasive, like a lot of people get to deal with. And the poorer you are, the more dysfunctional your family unit is. Okay, and that's just one example. So what do you do when you first come out here if you're being put in this situation with the way that things are expanding and the way that resources are getting? Because last year when I was here at Grace, at first you could get seconds, then they stopped giving out seconds, and now the portions are so small, it's like you almost want to laugh at it. It's like it's like a spoonful of eggs and 2 pieces of bacon, and that's your breakfast. And it used to be like, you get a lot more than that for breakfast. But the thing is these places are dealing with increased costs because of inflation and the supply chain and everything that's going on there. And they're having to take that same money with the increased cost and be able to feed the same population that is now growing. And so therefore, instead of being able to be able to take care of people, they're just kind of, making sure that everybody gets a little bit of something. And, that's the way it's going to be as the years get going along, either until we get out of this downturn, which probably will never happen. There's a time and place for everything, but, our time as being, top dog of the world is coming to a quick end. We're getting to see that on the international stage. And with that being said, when you come out here, you're going to need food stamps. If you know that you're going to be homeless, it takes 30 days to get food stamps. It used to be, if you wanted food stamps, you went in there and said, I'm homeless. They give you your emergency month, and then every month after that, you got it. And every 6 months, you had to go into the office and sit down and do an in-person interview. It was quick. It was instant. And quite frankly, there was a lot more oversight on it than there is now, because it's all done by mail, over the phone, on a computer. You don't actually really get to interact with somebody, and that whole process takes up to 30 days. And in some places, they're running out of food banks are closing, and things like that. So this is something that if you know that it's coming, you better get on top of it now instead of waiting until the last minute. And when you do that and you apply for those benefits, you'll also get your Medicaid and you'll get your phone and stuff like that. But here's the thing, and this is one of the things I really want to drive home. If you know that this is a potential for you, or if you know that you could easily be in this situation, because quite frankly, if you're in the bottom 60% of income earners, you should expect yourself to be in this category. And how is it that you're going to pull yourself out of it? Even me, you guys may look at me and say, loser, get a job, I'm da-da-da-da-da. I get to hear all the negative comments, okay? But even me, I have, created a way to work myself out of the situation I'm in and be able to create more stability, because I have more experience of being off and on the streets. I understand stability to be much different than the average person who thinks, I just need a roof over my head. No, you need stable income that is either not necessarily recession proof, but an income that you can count on regardless of what's going on in your life, because things are going to go on. And so that's why I'm doing the digital platforms. And being able to get one of these free phones, as much as people want to scoff at it and it hurts your pride, this is part of the 1980s Lifeline. There's no more landlines. Everything's gone to cell phones. And so that's why you're getting a free cell phone instead of a free landline, which is what you used to get back in the day. And so now that you have the ability to get a free cheap ass smartphone, you could take that and you can go into the digital marketplace and start building your brand, start building your business, start building something that's going to be sustainable, that people are going to follow regardless. And there are quite a few of you that are subscribers here that are on the same path that I am for a lot of similar reasons. You want that stability. You want to be able to have control over your own destiny, and relying on somebody else to give you a job or somebody else to have work for you. That is that's insanity, because one day they're not going to need you, because they're not going to have enough work. They're only going to have enough work for them and not enough for you. And so therefore you're stuck holding the bag going, well, I'm a hard worker. Well, you might be a hard worker, but if you're not a smart worker and understand that you need to start being your own boss and start, being accountable and self-disciplined and following, strict regiments and stuff like that, you'll never really have true stability. Working for yourself, having control over your own destiny is the ultimate stability. Over all of the years that I've been off and on the streets, the one thing that kept me off the streets the longest and also gave me the most stability in my life was working for me, not working for someone else. Because you always have to worry, am I going to get that pink slip today? The only way I get a pink slip is if I do crappy work. And then I've earned it because I'm a crappy worker, but I'm not a crappy worker. I put a lot of time, effort, and energy into a lot of the things that I do, and I'm sure you do too. Because like attracts alike. So, take this opportunity to, apply for those basic benefits. From there, you're going to have to decide, how do you want to live? Do you want to live in the forest, kind of like what I'm doing right now? Do you want to live in the city because you need to be closer to certain other things? What options do you have? And at that point in time, you should already know where you're going, and kind of have a generalized idea. Are you going to be on the road and travel and just, hopscotch around forests and whatever else and just go see the world? Or are you going to, stay static and stay where you're at because you got all these things tying you to whatever it is that you're doing? And these are choices that before you come outside, if you're going to be successful, if you're going to get off the streets, if you want to be able to reduce your chances of becoming a drug addict, because nobody comes out here to be a drug addict. It happens during the process, whether it be the moping process or whatever it is. Nobody comes out here as drug addicts. It is part of the end result of what long-term homelessness does without a plan, without any self-discipline, without any direction. You can't just come out here and say, I'm gonna get a job, because you're stuck to the whim of somebody else looking for you, being able to provide for you. And yet, people want to complain to me and say, oh, well, you're asking us for money, you're begging. Well, what do you think an employee is? Without the business owner, going out there and finding all that work, you don't have any work. And so therefore, you're just as much of a beggar as I am. Okay. And that's it's the reality. It's neither good nor bad. It's just the reality of the situation. Okay. So instead of being the beggar, be the creditor. Be the guy that has the funds that can actually go out there and take care of themselves, because then you get true freedom, because you're no longer dependent on anybody, and that is your stability. And so having a plan is probably the most important thing, next to making sure you have your benefits in line, because your plan will dictate the rest of the gear that you have and everything else that you have. And that's something that I'm going to be making a list. So we're going to be staying here in at Grace for at least a week, because Sam is injured. I'll tell you guys about it in a live stream I'm going to do here in a couple days. But I need to I'm going to have access to a computer, and I'm going to be able to do some work, and I'm just going to have to work with Sam and in the computer lab and just get some stuff done. But I'm going to be doing some sort of a detailed list of, depending upon, and I'm going to go over the different lifestyles that you could live, and the type of gear that you want, and kind of where you want to look for it, and things like that. And it'll probably be going for about $10 for this list, because it's going to pay me for the time, effort, and energy that I put into this, because I've got to live through this with experience. And so I'm sharing my experience with you, what I think would benefit you based upon the lifestyle that you're choosing. Because depending upon one lifestyle or another, you either have to worry about weight, or you have to worry about the elements, or you have to worry about being able to blend in. And each way that you choose to go has its own requirements. So anyways, I'll be doing that on Patreon. When I get that up, I will put that in a video, so keep an eye down in the description, and I will mention it in the video once I get that together. But anyways, guys, get yourself a plan together. Do something, when you get your plan, it tells you what gear you need. Once you understand what gear you need, you understand what kind of budget you need. And then you also need to figure out how are you going to make your money. And that's why I've been talking about not only the benefits, but talking about using the digital marketplace, because that is the new economy. And with everything that's going on, if you're going to be homeless, it's pretty much the only way in which you can be productive without having to worry about all the requirements that work is, which means you have to shower every day, you have to shave, you have to this, and you have to that. But, you also better be bringing something to the table, too. It's not like you can just point, click, record, and it's all going to be going good. So anyways, thanks for watching. Everything you can want to do to help the channel is down in the description. Looking for new Patreon members, 1. And 2, don't forget to become a subscriber. Hit that bell notification. Leave me your thoughts down in the comments. And ask any questions that you have, and maybe I might make a video about it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.